Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for today's video. Today is December 26th, 2023, the day after Christmas. I usually do these videos on Monday, which would have been yesterday, but I took the day off and rested. I hope that Christmas was okay for all of you. Peaceful, not stressful. If it was stressful, I'm very sorry, and try not to do the same thing next year, okay? If you didn't have stress, if there was no trauma this Christmas, then next Christmas won't be as bad. The anticipation of it coming. Okay? I'd like to recommend something to you guys every week. This week, I'm recommending a book. There's some questions based on body language, how we become susceptible, vulnerable targets to people that are manipulative and predatory. And there's a lot of things we do, and a lot of things we aren't aware of. Okay? There's a book I'm recommending, The Dictionary of Body Language, a field guide to human behavior. It's written, what's his name? Joe Navarro. He's a top leading expert on behaviors, body language. He's an ex-special agent FBI, ex-special FBI agent, that's how I say it. And he's studied this for 25 years and put his research and what he has found out and learned in a book for us. It's a great read. It really is. It's got many ratings, over 4.5, over 3,000 ratings. People love it. Anyone who's heard of this book, let me know. It's that good. One of you guys may have read it. Let us know what you think of it. Anybody who reads it, please let us know what you think of it. The Ultimate Body Language Reference, it'll both be referring to and recommending this book on a daily basis for many years to come, is what someone says. Again, he spent a lifetime observing others. For 25 years as a special agent for the FBI, produced and supervised interrogation of spies and other dangerous criminals, having his mastery of nonverbal communication. Really beneficial. I think we all need to know and be aware of what our vulnerabilities are, and we all need better communication. That's from verbal to body language, okay? Really, really important to not only be aware of our own behaviors, but to be and to understand others. Okay, this kind of stuff can help you exceed and succeed in not just personal life and relationships, business. Okay, so really good read. I recommend this to you. The link will be down below into the description. Okay, let us know what you think. Anyone who knows about it or decides to read it, please. Okay, let's get into the questions. First one's from Victoria from the Bay Area. Hi, Victoria. Thank you for answering my question about my son going into the military. You're welcome. I can't believe it. I'm trying to control a 25-year-old man. I have to stop trying to control people. Maybe if I didn't try to control his father, he may have grew up to be a man. I can't do this to my son. He deserves everything he can possibly get in life, and I will not stand in his way. Thank you. That's a beautiful comment. It's great to see acceptance and love like this. You're not responsible for what his father did. Okay? Doesn't matter how you treated him, if you tried to control him or if you didn't. He's responsible for what he did. His father was the only person that your son could learn what a man is, a husband, a father. How your son reacts to that is not your fault. Only what you've done or not done. Okay, Victoria? And so we can't assume this kind of responsibility and accountability. Again, it's great to see this. I don't know how hard this has been for you. I hope this kind of acceptance makes it easier. A lot of your guys' ruminating, obsessive thoughts, stuff like this is not accepting things that we can't control. Victoria can't control her son at 25 years old and can't determine whether he goes in the military or not, and certainly can't determine if he gets hurt or not. But all Victoria can do is accept it. And it makes her life a lot easier, and the relationships you have, I would imagine, with your son a lot easier. Keep us informed of what he decides to do. He still may not join. And like I said, he may be, a cook. Something like that. Something that you don't have to worry or be too scared of. Okay, Victoria? Thanks for your comment. And Sally, don't know where you're from. All I ask is you guys leave locations. Please let us know, people. Sally says, I love how you explain things. Very informative and clear. Your videos have helped me immensely in the past year and a half. That's awesome to hear. Thanks for taking your time to tell me, Sally. Thank you for supporting these videos. Thank you. If you guys find these beneficial, you can always support them. Thumbs up, share, subscribe to the channel. And Sally goes on to say, thank you, David. Very clear response. Think I finally figured out our adult child's recent behavior towards us. Well, thanks again for telling me, and that must be very beneficial to understand her behaviors. We tend to internalize everything and think that when people hurt us, it's something we did, something about us, it's our fault, things like this. And it's just not. We're not responsible for other people's behaviors, and I can't imagine the stress it causes you. So I hope this helps that. Thanks for telling me, Sally. And Emily from South Africa says, we do what is familiar. That is why we stay in narcissistic relationships so long. Absolutely. We care for ourselves the way that we were cared for. We just continue it. I call it, we pet the cat from head to tail, right? And if somebody comes along and pets us that way, okay. Even if it's wrong, even if it's hitting us, even if it's straight abuse, traumatic, it's normal. And so it's really careful. It's really important how we care for our children. They will continue to care for themselves that way. Okay? If we neglect our children, they'll neglect themselves. If we make them feel very reassured and give them emotional attention, they'll have secure attachments and relationships. Okay? Thanks, Emily. Dash Polkova. Hello, David. Thank you for another great video. Could you please make a video about narcissism and addictions? How alcohol, drugs affect the people with personality disorders and people around them? Yes, I sure will. It's a major component of toxic relationships. When you get into codependency, that's another addiction. It's very common to have other addictions. When you're toxic, when you have personality disorders, it's common to have addictions or develop them if you are victims of this. Okay? Extremely common. I'm so surprised when I see someone very sick, unhealthy, can't manage their lives or relationships, not have any addictions. Like the only one is their relationships. That always amazes me. I know when I was in really toxic relationships, man, did my drinking go up, and the people around me too, or drinking, not drugs. I've never done drugs, but the drinking, I remember trying to stay sober in relationships. I lived with people where they're drinking every day. And I only tried to stay sober for them. They had a drinking problem, so I'm not going to drink. And they just continue to drink and still blame me. Yeah. The behaviors from alcoholics and drug addicts have a lot of toxic traits that personality disorder people have. Matter of fact, people will look just like a narcissist or a borderline or sociopath, things like this, while they're on drugs or alcohol. And doctors aren't supposed to diagnose people with personality disorders if they know they're drunk or high on drugs. That's how much it looks like them. Yeah, crazy. And then you get into that, is it just the drugs or alcohol? I'll dive into that in a video this week. Okay? Thank you, Dasha Polkova. If I'm saying that right, correct me if I'm not. Okay, Big Dave from Tennessee has a big, long comment and question. I'm going to try to get through this, okay, and answer this for Dave. I had a friend that contacted me after 10 years. We just stopped talking because of some issues between us. 10 years later, we are talking, and our friendship has grown. That's great. I never realized how much I missed her until we started talking again. This relationship has become such a good thing in my life. That's good, Dave. Right on. I think you have said that these types of people should be looked at as acquaintances and not friends. And what type of people, Dave? I'm not sure. Are you saying that your friend's toxic? I'm not sure. I'll go on to read. I can't imagine missing out on this because of some rule society has created. I have to wonder when you talk about these 1 year and 2 year timelines where we should not reach out to someone. Where do these ideas and rules come from? I've never said that we should wait a year or two to contact people, anyone. So I'm not sure what you're saying, Dave. Can you clarify that for me. There are no rules. I don't know of any rules anywhere from anybody that says you have to wait to contact someone. I can tell you that a big sign of toxic relationships is breaking up and getting back together. We don't want to ever do that. We break up, it's over for good. Okay? That's just me. I don't know if that's playing into what you're saying here. I've said that toxic people don't have real friends, they have acquaintances. And I've said things like, oh, I can't really think of where you got this from. Let me know, Dave, please. I'll go on. There's more. You asked me in one of your videos a few weeks ago, how did my reconnecting with my ex-girlfriend go? First, you didn't make me feel like I was the toxic one. That was actually me wondering if I was the toxic one. Our relationship is doing well, and I think it's because I took accountability for things I had done and said. It's going slow and steady, but we are just friends. Good. I think that sometimes we move too quickly, discarding people in our lives. We need to get away from some people, but are we discarding everyone just because they are not meeting my ideals at that moment in time? Well, first of all, we don't discard people. So that's what's wrong. It doesn't matter who they are. They're human beings and we don't discard them. We discard garbage and trash, right? So we can end relationships and we give closure. We're completely truthful and honest and tell them. Relationships can't all be fixed. They're all going to have problems, and we need to fix those problems or the relationship ends. And we do it in an honest way, and we talk, right? We don't threaten. We try until there's no more trying and it's over, and then we end it. If you're ending relationships quickly, that's a bad sign too, right? We want to try to make them work, talk, communicate as much as we can, being vulnerable, being honest. And if we are doing that, you're saying discarding, even throwing people away quickly. Your question is, are we discarding everyone just because they are not meeting ideals? You mean like idealized version of somebody? I don't know why you might be doing that or other people. I'd call it hypervigilance. If we've had past relationships that are traumatic, abusive, it's very common to be very hypervigilant and not very accepting of people. Kind of like they have to be perfect. Like we're just always going to be looking for something bad, something wrong, toxic, and guess what? We'll always find it. Not only are human beings not perfect, and we make mistakes, right? But we find what we're looking for. Everyone's lied, everyone's mistreated somebody at some time. If you're going to use those rules, if you've ever lied and you've ever mistreated somebody, you can never be in my life again. That would go with everybody. I'm going to keep reading. You have a little bit left. I have to wonder, is fear of being rejected, is that what is preventing me from reaching out to people in my past that I enjoyed as friends because of something crappy I did or said? I ask because there are two relationships. There are two relationships that I now have in my life that are a good thing, even though my actions might have been toxic or destructive. I guess, is it fear that we may not be forgiven for our actions? I don't know what your experience is. That's up to you. And not everyone is the same or same reasons. Okay, so a fear of rejection, yeah, that could be it. If we did something wrong, I don't know it, something that you said, a fear of not being forgiven for our actions. Yeah, I guess so. I could see that. It's hard to look at ourselves sometimes. It's hard to take accountability and be introspectful to some people or a lot of people sometimes. We don't like it. It's uncomfortable. Get used to it. Just apologize for everything you do. If someone doesn't like it, be vulnerable. And, we have our ego. We don't want our ego to be bruised, tarnished. We'd all love to be perfect, but we aren't. And I think perfect is making mistakes, acknowledging them, apologizing and correcting them and never doing them again. That's as perfect as you can get. human beings, okay? Um, if these two people in your life are not toxic and they never abused you, and you just wanted to end, or the relationship ended because of something you did, Dave, then you don't have to wait. There's no rules to apologize, right? I don't know if I'm understanding some of your questions really well. I hope I answered some of them correctly without totally understanding. Um, what I think is you're concerned about getting rid of and ending relationships too soon and sudden, finding out later, oh, they really could have worked. And you know, there's no rules, Dave. We don't discard people. It's not going to work out well for you by doing that. If you were to talk to these people, apologize for what you did, been very vulnerable and honest, maybe the relationships never had to end. If you apologized right away, maybe you could have continued the relationships. I don't know. Maybe it was just who we were at the time, how we felt. I don't know, Dave. But please keep asking me questions. You said, hey, I'm having an issue with PayPal. Do you have any other methods of donating to you? No, I'm sorry you're having a problem. I'm not having, I don't have another way to make a donation to me right now. I'm sorry, Dave, but thank you very much for trying to make a donation. I don't get them very often, one or two a year. So thank you for trying. I don't know how to fix it for you. You can contact me. Maybe I could help you. Or you can ask PayPal. Tell them you're having a problem. They'll usually walk you through it. But thank you. Let me know what you think of what I've said, and maybe you can ask me more today down below, and I'll dive more into it next week, next Monday. Because it seems like there's some confusion. It might be on my part, okay? Or maybe a little you, a little me. I don't know. But ask me again, could you, Dave? I'd like to be able to answer this better for you, if possible. Okay? There's no rules. I don't agree with breaking up and getting back together. That's just me. Not a societal rule. If you want to know why, it's because if it didn't work, it didn't work. Taking breaks doesn't work. A lot of people say, oh yeah, we're not getting along so badly, we're just taking like a 6-month break. Well, I don't know what that fixes. I understand if we're in a fight, separate, not talk today, but 6 months isn't emotionally attentive. It isn't offering anyone security, autonomy, privacy, none of this stuff. So it's just gone for 6 months. And then to feel like that's how we solve things isn't going to help a relationship. We just grow apart. And it sounds like, I don't know, Dave, but if these people didn't abuse you, right? If they abused you and they were toxic, I'd keep them out of your life. I don't see a point in a year or two later contacting them, right? But if they weren't, and you just did something you believe was wrong and you just wanted to apologize, you could apologize anytime you want. There's no rules to this, Dave. I don't know where these rules came from either. I've never heard of them. Okay? Maybe I said something to make you believe this. Let me know. I'm sorry if I did. Okay? All right. Good luck, David. It's nice. Hey, bottom line is, sounds like you have 2 more people in your life that you didn't for many years, and you have valuable relationships, friendships with them. That's great. Tell me what you've learned from that. Thanks, Dave. And my Valky. Don't know where you're... Oh, Netherlands. Thank you for an unsettling reply. You interpreted the question correctly. There are children involved. I have full custody, and she struggles with keeping supervised visitation due to supervisor needing to de-escalate. Following a violent discard, things calmed down at 2 months and escalated to new level of violence at 8 months. Maybe a follow-up question, still from the Netherlands. NPD family members saved me. This is interesting. Initially, I did everything my narcissistic dad said, and avoided all BPD breakup pitfalls. My narcissistic brother also saw through all lies and manipulated me into healthy behavior. They occasionally took a pound of supply from me in exchange. Here's a question. Are BPDs generally weak to NPDs that are hostile to them? Yeah, I'd say so. I wrote that my reply, I said that the two people with the two disorders dance well together commonly. Extremely typical for a parent, a narcissistic parent, to raise a borderline child. Extremely typical for a borderline parent to raise a narcissistic child. It just keeps going that way. You've got someone selfless, potentially could be selfless, and someone so selfish. It just goes all one way. They idealize the narcissist, give them tons of attention, right? And then it stops and the narcissist starts to abuse them, and the borderline is used to this and takes it. Extremely common. Borderlines will date abusers and victims. Okay? The abusers, those relationships tend to be more exciting and emotional and more addictive and dependent. Okay? If that answers your question. Just think of a borderline being mistreated their whole life, and so when someone else comes along and mistreats them, great reaction. Perfect fit. Square into a square hole. The petting the cat from head to tail, right? Okay, Rory from Ohio here. Hi, Rory. I've been thinking about my grandparents and how neither side had much connection with our family of 9 children. Wow. I vowed I would spend time with my grandchildren, shower them with hugs and kisses, be there for them, let them know I was in their life. David, did you have a grandparent that played an active role throughout your life, even adulthood? I have thoroughly enjoyed all the time I've spent with them, traveling, keeping them overnight, taking care of them. If this is too personal, I understand. Thanks, David. No, not at all. This is great. This is, we tend to raise children and even grandparents, be a grandparent to a grandchild, the way that we were raised, the way our grandparents treated us, hopefully a little better. That's just typical. And, we need to break toxic cycles, right? Alcoholism, narcissistic parenting. We need to break, because these are all cyclical, over and over and over again. And we just keep repeating it until somebody steps outside of that and breaks it. Like Rory. That's wonderful. Not even sure or much practice in what you're doing or experiences or teaching, right? But you're just doing it anyway. Good for you. Grandparents in my life, I had a wonderful grandfather, amazing man. And he was so much a part of my childhood. I've even lived with him. An amazing man, father, and husband. A real role model for me. I'm so grateful I had him in my life. Unfortunately, he wasn't in my life in my adulthood. I had another grandparent I couldn't talk to on the other side of my family. Hope that answers your question. Thanks for asking, Rory. And it's beautiful to see this. Yeah, it's great. Oh, and you got more. My question is about the collapse of the narcissist and the slipping of the mask. Are they the same? Can the collapse of the narcissist happen more than once in a relationship? I'm wishing you all the happiness, peace, joy, comfort, snow, just kidding about the snow, that the holidays have to offer, sharing virtually a cup of eggnog with you. Cheers. Cheers. Thank you, Rory. Okay. The slipping of the mask. This is when somebody gets close enough to them, eventually seeing who they really are. What they have always rejected and hidden and kept covert. Okay? They hate it so much, it's so much toxic shame. When people see that, they don't want to be associated with them anymore. That person, you become associated with their shame. Does that make sense? It's like if I went to a restaurant and got severely humiliated. Every time I go to that restaurant, I'm going to feel that, right? So I don't want to go to that restaurant anymore. That's you. Once you finally see the real me, that's all that I'm reminded of when I see you. I know that you see this about me. Okay? The collapse of the narcissist is depression. So when the narcissist can't keep up this false persona, they can be very depressed. It's when people find out who they are and reject them, deny them, stop in relationships, stuff like this. The narcissist will do this and can do this in a relationship. It doesn't have to be only when it's over. You don't have to end it with them. It's very common for a narcissist in a long-term relationship to go and be depressed for a while on their own. They don't need you like that. If you're like that, you're this, you're that, you're this, and they might take off. They might go isolate by themselves somewhere. They might start drinking inside their room or something, having nothing to do with you. Typically, this is up and away. You might think there was someone else, not necessarily. No, this is where they've excluded, cut out all people, and it's severe depression. Severe. The only thing that keeps a narcissist going, and you have to understand, we're all stuck with ourselves. People are like, how do they live with themselves? We have to. What's the alternative? We just keep trying to go. We may just be able to just go to work and that's it. Okay? So the narcissist deals with depression severely. And I'm actually going to make another video about this, the collapse and the depression of narcissism. Because narcissistic personality disorder on its own is extremely depressive. Okay? All right. Thank you, Rory. Cheers again. Void 1718. Let us know where you are. Oh, you did. United Kingdom. Thank you. Question, David. Do you think there is a possibility clinicians diagnose emotionally unstable personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, instead of narcissistic borderline disorder, as they feel the client would react badly? No, I don't. I'm not saying never, but no, I don't think that's common. Anything like that, the only thing I've heard of and seen is, personality disorders can take an extremely long time to diagnose. Just to let you know, you could see a professional for 6 months and they still won't diagnose you. It's not so much that they don't want to, and I think some don't want to. It's severe. A diagnosis on its own causes depression. I've seen someone that has been diagnosed with borderline. Someone I didn't know that well, but it wasn't a client. I don't talk about clients, but someone in my personal life. I dated for like a week. And then like a month later, they called me and told me they were diagnosed with borderline. And I mean, biggest meltdown of their life. Worst thing they could ever hear. Imagine you hearing that. You wouldn't like that. Okay, you guys are already so worried and paranoid about it already, right? What I have seen, what I think has happened sometimes, is some doctors don't want to give the patient the diagnosis in fear of their progression or fear of their collapse and not progressing anymore, right? I mean, imagine, I don't help people with borderline, but imagine if someone came to me and said, David, I fear I have borderline, or someone's diagnosed me with that, and that was a long time ago, I don't believe it's true. Can you help me? Well, if you do have borderline, probably not, especially if you're not getting help with a therapist. But on its own, I can tell you that I will make suggestions on how to live your life healthy. If you take them, you will be now living your life healthy. People with disorders, I guarantee you, can't take my suggestions. Change is too much for them. They collapse, they fall flat on their face. They can't just act and keep it up forever. Incapable. And if you're capable of taking my suggestions, your life will be good. Okay? Hope that answers your question. Please let me know. Thank you. Victoria from the Bay Area again. As a victim of a toxic person, do we also have both language? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we also have body language that we show that make us more vulnerable to a toxic person? And are they listening into our conversations to see how we talked to get more information? As far as are they listening to our conversations to see how we talk, like spying on us? Yeah. I mean, toxic people are infamous for spying. Remember when we did it as little kids? Remember, toxic people are just little kids. Yes, we have body language. Okay? You can go as extreme as a psychopath. A psychopath will pick people that have things wrong with them. You have a little bit of a gait that shows some kind of injury, something wrong. They love that. Okay? When it gets into controlling, people like narcissistic or borderline, people that want to enter your life, trying to mirror you, there are many things we do. But one very important thing is eye contact. Okay? If I can't make eye contact with you, I'm intimidated by you. Do you see that? I feel inferior. I'm carrying shame. I can see this in people all the time. They do it often. I don't think they know all the time. Um, Fidgeting, nervous. Fidgeting with my hands, tapping, something like this. I'm nervous, right? I'm not confident. And that's the word, confident. Um, Mirroring helps. Mirroring helps. We can fake it till we make it with this, guys. Narcissists do this. They gain a little bit of confidence by faking it, and then it goes okay. They also fall flat on their face because they overdid it, right? They talk themselves too up, and they can't do it. But it's really important to know and be aware of what we're doing and what it's causing, what it's telling other people. And we can be confident. We can have better body posture, and we can make eye contact and not fidget. Just imagine those three things, how much that can help somebody. Somebody that can't make eye contact has bad posture, bending down below you like this, right? Not wanting to show our neck and be vulnerable. People that are confident will do this. You know, when people are fighting, they fight, they start doing this. I don't care, I don't care. I'm not scared of you. They're showing you, I'm not scared of you. Lots of things. There's so much in just our style of speech. Okay? I think that book could really benefit you, Victoria, and anybody else who wants just a little bit more confidence when interacting with people and doesn't want to show, we all have vulnerabilities. And like I was saying before, it's good to know what ours are. What are your vulnerabilities? Because you have all it takes. The recipe is this, guys. For cults, psychopaths, scams, all of it is you have an influential person, right? You have the psychopath who's charismatic. You have the cult leader who will help you, whatever it is that you want. We're here to save you. And then you have the scam sitting here, he makes some money. So they're influential. And then you have a person who's vulnerable. And there's all kinds of vulnerabilities we can have, okay? It's good to know what ours are. And it's always good to be better at communicating, and body language is a very important part of that, okay? Imagine, if I never look at you and I'm just distracted and I'm tapping, I'm not into this conversation, at least, right? You ever talk to the back of someone's head? Yeah, don't. Really, don't. They don't want you to. They don't want you to talk. So I'm not going to keep talking. I said to you, I wasn't really sure what you're talking about when you said listening to us, but I get it. Like spying on us. Yeah, for sure. Just like they'll go through your stuff, right? When you're not around. But you can detect low confidence in our speech and our posture, okay? We also are too agreeable. We give too much attention, undivided attention to people when we don't even have it. I'm busy. Can't talk to you right now. What is it? Too concerned, too much empathy, too much compassion, pity. Don't pity people, at least. Compassion's beautiful, empathy's beautiful. We have to have it for ourselves first. Love ourselves first, right? I'm not going to be compassionate towards you as you're abusing me. Leave me alone. Self-compassion first. Stop the abuse. Okay? Hope that makes some sense. And Weezola. Don't know where you're from. Let us know. My borderline ex put a restraining order on me. 6 months later, she's contacted my friends and saying sorry, and she's even come to my house to put a blank check in my letterbox, but won't remove the police order. I feel like she's trying to muck with my head. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, come on, man. Here's a borderline saying, I'm a victim, I'm protected, I have an order, but I can go do whatever I want and go mess with them and talk to them. I just still want their attention, but I'm going to be safe with the order. I mean, give me a break. It's just complete baiting you, provoking you, disgusting. I would document this and I'd go report it to the police, because when they contact you like this, restraining orders are pretty much out of the bag, right? I mean, a restraining order goes both ways. You can't be contacting someone you have a restraining order against you and think that if they reply, they're going to jail. No, it doesn't work like that. Just like if I want someone to, stop contacting me, stop harassing me, I don't keep telling them, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. It's a he said, she said, please throw it out. Okay? You're not really going to get in trouble from a restraining order placed on you when the person replacing it on you doesn't stop contacting you. Ridiculous. And I am so sorry that you have this restraining order. because that's not good. And I would, I'm not telling you what to do, but I would have your lawyer make a motion to have her removed because it's very apparent she's not scared of you. Ridiculous. Awful. I'm really sorry. And Emily Merton from South Africa. Hi, Emily. Is psychosis a symptom of narcissistic abuse? I kind of read this wrong and answered you that no, it's not. But, the term psychosis is not really used in psychology anymore. Psychosis was considered a big gray area, right? When our neurosis becomes so high, we cross the line into psychosis. The borderline is right on that line. And that's why they're not really using borderline anymore. They're using emotionally unstable personality disorder. Other terms they've used before it was called borderline,